Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
Morning.
Welcome to your senior breakfast. Give yourselves a round of applause. And as we get started, let's give the parents a round of applause for getting this all together for us. Thank you. Over the past 3 years, it's been my privilege to grow with you all, and by grow, I've had a lot of experiences here that I wouldn't have had otherwise. I don't necessarily mean the obvious one. The other experience that I've had is I've learned from you all. I've learned that folks your age can be leaders, that you can have a passion and a maturity that I never expected. So it has been my honor to learn from you and have that experience. And I am so grateful that I was able to experience that with you. I know I have another year here, and I know I'm going to learn more this upcoming year. So congratulations to you, but thank you very much for allowing me to be part of your lives. This morning, we're going to have Mr. Thompson speak. Mr. Watkins will speak to us for a while. We have a couple of scholarships to present, and then we'll be dismissed. If you have anything to do that we go over in time, please feel free to get up and go what you need to do within the school. We don't want to keep you from anything that happens over at the school. So if you have any tests or anything, please make sure you take care of those. With that, I'm going to hand this over to Mr. Thompson.
Good morning, everyone. As mentioned before, this morning is for you. This occasion is for you. And oftentimes in our busy lives, we don't take a moment to just have an occasion. It's to the point now where there's never a moment. But I'm thankful for you all, and I'm also thankful for this moment. I'll have much more to say at our banquet because I think that you guys are truly a special, special class. You're a wonderful bunch of youngsters that I met 4 years ago when I was at one of my lowest points in my professional career. And it was the hope, it was the passion, it was the love for music making that helped me rediscover my path. And for that, I will always be grateful and thankful to you. Our keynote speaker for this morning is no stranger to the Lassiter High School or the Lassiter tradition. Mr. Alfred Watkins is what I call the architect of the Lassiter Band. Being hired in 1982, he was a trailblazer, and he put into motion one of the most special organizations in our country, dare I say, a national treasure. It is our Lassiter Band, and we have nothing but the highest and utmost respect for him, the many, many sacrifices, and the incredible vision that he did. So would you join me, please, in welcoming our keynote speaker, Mr. Alfred L. Watkins.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Is this thing on? Am I?
It's just for the camera.
It's just for the camera, got it. Good. Keep eating if you'd like, or if not, at least kind of look this way halfway, so we can, either way works. Good. I recognize all of your faces, and after being in this environment for such a long time, I recognize your spirit. Fortunately for me, I've been away now for 6 years, and I call myself the grandfather of the high school band. And so if I don't reference you by name, please pardon me. It's just I've been gone for a while. As I look around a bit, I thought I would share a little bit of something with you. You'll hear a lot of people talk to you now that you're about to graduate from high school. You hear your band directors, you've heard leadership classes, and places of worship. You get baccalaureates and graduation speakers, and everyone will tell you about your bright future. and they'll talk to you about where you are in life. And I'll do a little bit of just about 5 minutes. I'll take you back a little bit so you can learn a little bit about what brought us to this place. And I'll move you forward to tell you what's in front of you. But having taught 10,000 high school kids here at Lassiter, I'm an expert from the ages of 13 to 18 in this community. A lot of experience at it. As a matter of fact, I remember when this building was being built and the building adjacent to it. I remember when this building was being built, the stadium. I was here, it was a flat area. We put the first uniform on the students back in 1982 on the 50-yard line when it was just kind of an uncut field. Our first football games, our home football games were at Sprayberry High School the first year. And then the contract with Sprayberry ran out. They didn't want us over there. So we moved to Walton for a couple of years for our first football games. Yeah, I've gone through all the uniform changes and all the personality changes. And my wish in the community was the students in the community don't need too much from teachers. They need guidance, they need love, they need discipline, and they need direction in this particular community. And not much has changed since then. The band has gone through a lot of ups and ups over the last few years. The logo that I see here was done digitally now, and it's so pretty. The very first one I saw of this one was done in 1982. I took the Trojan Band helmet and gave it to a 9th grade student that was drawing on the board all the time. Percussionist. And so every day I come in the band room, there'd be some kind of nice drawing on the board. Who did that? Well, Stacy Schott did that. Who did that? Stacy Schott. Which one is she? She's the redhead drummer, Mr. Watkins, a little 9th grade girl. I brought her into the office a month into the school term. I said, I'd like you to help me design a logo, would you? She said, sure, Mr. Watkins, what do you need? And I said, I'd like the Trojan logo involved in it in either a bass clef or a treble clef around it or through it. And she walked in the next morning with this. And it hasn't changed since that day. She drew it out in her art stuff. Didn't change it all since that day. There was a bass clef one over here on this side. It had the bass clef and the 2 dots, and it was ugly. So we kept this one, and we kept it through the years. And I asked her, which one do you like the best? She said, I like the one with the clef down the middle. We didn't change the angle. We didn't change the height. We didn't change the direction. Nada. That's it. That was a blessing of the program. So a lot of things have remained the same, and a lot of things have changed. You are kind of a newbie group. You are the stabilizing band, I will call you. You're the first, you were freshmen, if I'm not mistaken, when the trio of band directors that you have now were your band directors. The other 2 years were rather turbulent. They were difficult to watch, they were difficult to be around, they were difficult to navigate, and they were difficult to watch dismantle. But it was the students the whole time, your older brothers and sisters, and the ones you admired when you were younger, that actually saved the day. And they allow for you to be here for this fine program to operate. I keep up with you all the time. I talk to your band directors once a week, twice a week, but I stay away to let them have their space with their program and their students. I've had the luxury of traveling in band rooms all over the country since I've retired. I'm from Seattle, Washington to Miami. I had the pleasure of rehearsing the Stoneman Douglas Band in Stoneman Douglas, Florida, where that horrible shooting was, about 51 weeks after the shooting. And I've been up in New England and down to Southern California. And what I've learned is that each band program in each community is quite different. But the old saying, there's no place like home, there's no place like home. The Lassiter community that you have here is very special and very unique, and as you go through your next few years, when you look back on it, you'll think, I did all that? And the answer will be yes. You'll miss it, because most places don't function with the same type of commitment, the same type of excellence. So you won't see it again. I can guarantee you that. The sounds that you hear that are so beautiful and the execution that you hear in visiting with Mike every day and Nathan every day and your teachers every day, you won't get that anymore. So you'll be in another space. But the background that you have from here will keep you gathered through the rest of your career. Yeah. I had a principal once at Lassiter that I was on a trip to Hattiesburg, Mississippi, at a regional. And because I had a strong band at the time and a strong band parent community, he said to me, he was an assistant principal, "I'm not sure I can teach African American kids, do you?" He was talking to me. And I said, I think so, yeah. I think I can teach any of them that are interested. And about 5 years later, he became my principal here at this school. But because I had such a strong base in my high school, my child rearing, and in my students, in my program, it didn't deter me. It was just a blip on the radar screen for 3 or 4 years. We won a national championship with the marching band when he was principal. And no, he did not attend. It was okay. We kept the trophy. I've got a short one. Most people are going to tell you how great everything is in this world. They're going to be so optimistic as they go through it, and they're going to tell you what you can do. You hear a lot of that conversation. You've heard a lot from your parents. You hear a lot from teachers. You hear a lot from the elders. You've already learned that. It's not necessary for you to hear that again. You're in the last of the band. You survived it for 4 years. The heat of the band camp in the summer is enough to drive a mere mortal away. Just the heat. I was in Illinois talking to a band director at Lawrence Township, and they had a competitive band nationally. And he said, "How do y'all stand the heat down in the South, Alfred?" I said, "We don't rehearse outside when it's very, very hot. We just find something else to do." So when does it get cold up here? He said, "Mid-October." So how cold does it get? He said, "Snow on the ground." How do y'all survive the cold? And we all just kind of do what we have to do. So you're already set. Your sails are already up. And you're already clearly and safe traveling. You'll have some bumps and some bruises, and you'll get off track a little bit. But for the most part, if you've gotten this far in this organization, what you've learned through discipline, which breeds self-discipline. Self-discipline breeds self-control, which allows for us to come in here and have an orderly senior banquet with nobody talking, nobody distracting, nobody goofing around. You'll see it as you go through your senior activities. And nobody just trying to be an individual. You've already accepted the fact that I'm disciplined and I can control my actions, I can control the way that I function. And for the most part, that's the secret to success. I want to give you 3 ideas, all wrapped up into kind of one, and that's all. I was in Illinois this past weekend, judging high school bands and clinicking high school band directors. It was a young band director that came through, first-year student, band director, and she had a horrible band. It was just awful. And so her band director was judging also. And he came up to me early and he said, "This is one of my students. I expected her to do well." And the band was just awful. Just awful. And so I went up to her afterwards and I said, "I understand you're a fine percussionist." She said, "I did real well when I was in college." And I said, "Well, what happened?" She said, "I don't know what I'm doing." I said, "I understand that." I said, "What are we doing to get it corrected?" And she didn't understand what I was asking her. And I gave her my commencement story, which I'll share with you. Yeah, they call it graduation. And when you really think about it, if you started in like K4, in some kind of formal education, K4 to now is 14 years, yes? And you multiply 4 on top of, if you add 4 on top of it, you got 18 years, if you're lucky. Put 5 on top of it, which is natural, you got 19 years of formal educational study. When you finish the 19th year of formal educational study, and they give you yet another diploma that says that you have accomplished something, That's the end to some people. And that's what happened to her. And it happens to many of my colleagues and many people. But they named these ceremonies commencement, the Latin for to begin. It never made any sense to me until I was graduating from college and they kept calling it commencement. And somewhere along the line, my professors told me that this was the beginning of the learning phase for us, that I was just finishing up my formal education and the true learning was going to exist. So I'm going to take you on a ride. I'm going to use a river as my vehicle. Go with me on this one. Won't take but a second. Let's take the Ohio River. Over here for you. Mississippi's here. Ohio River, which doesn't begin in Ohio, it begins in Pennsylvania. It's just part of the stupid thing that happened in America. The Ohio River begins in Pennsylvania, and it's only, at its widest point, 1 mile. A third of the distance from here to Sprayberry. That's the widest point of the river. It's only 125 feet deep. For you, 45 yards. 45-yard deep river is not very deep. We can see 45 yards out there. We can imagine that. And it spans 930 miles, the Ohio River. Starts way up there. So you now are going to be on some type of a boat. Let's call it a canoe. Just you. Just you. So you're on a boat. You're in a canoe. And you get a little small river that goes into this Ohio River, a tributary. The little boat works just fine. Then all of a sudden, you get into the Ohio River, and it goes 930 miles. It covers these states. Starts in Pennsylvania, goes through Ohio, Cincinnati, by the way, Huntington, West Virginia, Kentucky, who actually owns the river, by the way. The Ohio River is owned by Kentucky. You go figure that out. And it goes through Evanston, Indiana, and it ends in Illinois, where it hooks into, it intersects with the mighty Mississippi. And the Mississippi River, you're still in your canoe. I think you probably would have gotten off, gotten you a boat that's a little bit larger, a little bit more stable, because you're getting a little bit more terrain. At the point when the Ohio River meets the Mississippi, there's another river that intersects also called the Missouri, which actually starts up in Wisconsin. So they intersect here. So that little nice little canoe you had up here worked when you're on the little stream. Doesn't work as well in the Ohio. Then the waters get more turbulent because the other river's coming in. So you find shoreland, you get you some more tools or boat. You get you some more floats and some things that can protect you. This is your commencement. When you graduate, you have to have more stuff in order to survive. So when they meet here and they hit the mighty Mississippi, which actually begins in Minnesota. I got it. I was at a hotel about a year ago, and I looked out my back window. I said, "What's that?" And the teacher said, "What's the Mississippi?" So, no, I'm in Minnesota. What river is that? That's the beginning of the Mississippi River. That's the mouth of it. I said, "It starts here?" I had no idea. And so they meet here, and you go down the mighty Mississippi. Now, the mighty Mississippi River is 2,320 miles long. 3/4 the distance across the country. It's wider, and it's deeper. The Mississippi River has 260 species of fish. It has 60% of birds that are occupied in the United States are in the Mississippi River, living off the river. 60%. There are 145 species of mammals and reptiles in the Mississippi River. So the canoe you were on in high school graduation doesn't work now. You got a good start, but at least now you know how to survive. Because you have brains, you have discipline, you have self-discipline, you have self-control. So you grab you another size boat, and you grab you some more help to go with you, and you can get it where it's stabilized. And you think, well, I'm doing okay here until the mighty Mississippi gets down to the Gulf Stream and then into the Gulf of Mexico. The Gulf of Mexico is a basin that's about 1 million miles in circumference. So it's huge. It also brings in the Rio Grande River from the west. So you're in a much deeper space. So you find someplace in the port of New Orleans, a bigger boat, a more secure boat, with more people to help you on your journey to get to wherever you're going. Then you go into an area that we call the Caribbean Sea, the Caribbean Sea as some people call it. And it's got the lowest point of your travels, 5 miles. This is depth. So you've gone from something that was 45 feet deep to something that's 5 miles down. Down by Puerto Rico, you got 5 miles of depth. So the boat that you're on is not secure enough. But you now know how to get off, grab another one, deeper, some kind of liner. And guess what that empties into? You guessed it, it empties into the Atlantic. The Atlantic Ocean is the second largest body of water in the world. It covers 20% of the surface of the earth. The average depth is 2 miles. At its deepest point, it is 6 miles. It carries the largest fish and the most dangerous fish in the sea. So you must have a different size boat, different size stuff to make it. That's my story about boats and you. Change that analogy to find out how would you navigate yourself through that if that were life. So that is life. You're leaving the easy, comfortable confines of being in a tributary up near the Ohio River, a little creek, a little stream that flows into it, and they all empty out into the abyss. But there are people in the abyss every day. They live on the boats. They live in the submarines. They live in it, and they can manage that, and so will you. But that's where life will take you. I'll give you 3 little short poems in case you're interested in rivers. The last thing. The Nile River in Africa is 4,000 miles. And the Amazon in South America is 4,100, slightly longer, the 2 longest ones in the world. I want to give you 3 pieces of literature. When I get into a place where I want to think, I go into parts of the arts that survive me, either writings or the personality of an artist or something. Felix Mendelssohn that wrote, I think he wrote Pomp and, no, that was the Elgar. What did he write? Wrote something for your holiday, what did he write? War March of the Priests. You may hear the graduation. Felix Mendelssohn was a composer who was gay and Jewish in Germany. So he wrote all this great music, and it was never publicized until after he passed away. His best friend, Robert Schumann, showed the music. That's how Felix had to go through life. So I'll give you 3 little poems. One was written in 1640, but it was transcribed again. It's about water. No man is an island. So bear with me. No man is an island. No man stands alone. Each man's joy is joy to me. Each man's grief is my own. Sounds familiar? You need one another, so I will defend each man as my brother, each man as my friend. I saw the people gather. I heard the music start. The song that they are singing is ringing in my heart. No man is an island, way out in the blue. We all look to one above for our strength to renew. When I help my brother, then I know that I plant the seed of friendship that will never die. I have 2 more little quickies. Sounds like your band, doesn't it? I got these this morning when I woke up. I hadn't quite finished what I wanted to say to you. This was by the author Langston Hughes. I've known rivers. I've known rivers ancient as the world and older than the flow of human blood in my human veins. My soul has grown deep like the rivers, perhaps near the latter part of his life. I bathed in the Euphrates when dawns were young. I built my hut near the Congo, and it lulled me to sleep. I look upon the Nile and raise the pyramids above, and hearing the singing of the Mississippi when Abraham Lincoln went down to New Orleans. I've seen the muddy bosom turn all golden in August. And the last one isn't about a river, but I'll leave you with this one. Band students all over the country, I found out, including home, are somewhat less respected on their local school campuses. The colleges are a little different. They will respect their college marching band because they're huge addendums to the football team. I'll give it to you again. They'll respect their college marching bands because they're huge addendums to the football team. They are nameless souls that play the fight song for 87,000 times as the warriors on the field are competing. But they're an addendum. The high school band is not an addendum to anyone else. And last to pretty much leads the parade. So your role will change. So when you go through life and people ask you, what did you do in high school? Don't tell them I did this and I did this, but I played in the band, but it wasn't very good. Because I traveled the country a lot. And when you go out, all you have to say is, I was in the last of the band. And wherever you are, if you're at a restaurant in New Haven, Connecticut, if you're in a restaurant in Orlando, someone's going to say, I saw them on television. Were you in? Yes, I was in that band. I've heard of that. Yeah, I was in that band. I guarantee you'll hear it wherever you are. South Africa, you'll hear it. Germany, you'll hear it. My cousin was in the Swiss Alps last summer on a missionary trip. My sister-in-law, and she said, Alfred, there were a group of people from Alpharetta that were kind of snooty. And they didn't want to talk to us. I said, okay, she was from Fayetteville. So they didn't say anything to her until they found out that I was related to the band right there that was at Lasseter for so many years. And then we became best friends. And I had instant respect. So wherever you, and they were in Switzerland for 3 weeks. And she said, they didn't speak to us at all for 2.5. And then all of a sudden they found out, and the parents are laughing because they know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. And this is the last one. This is for the teachers too. Here's a little quote from Theodore Roosevelt around 1910. It was in France. It's about the man in the arena, which is what you have done. It is not the critic who counts, not the one who points out how the strong man stumbled, or how the doer of deeds might have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marked with sweat and dust and blood and band camp, he didn't say that, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes up short again and again, who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, and spends himself in a worthy cause, who, if he wins, knows the triumph of high achievement, and who, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. So you'll run into those people all the time. So best wishes to you, class of 2019, and I look to hear great things from you for the rest of our lives. Thank you so much. Sure.
I love when you say
Will you say it now? Let me say it now?
yes, let me introduce.
Okay.
So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to present this year's S.T.E.P Scholarship Awards. Mr. Watkins is going to share a little bit about the origins of S.T.E.P.
Yeah, embarrassingly, my first thing I should have done was to thank you for allowing me to come into your space. But I was nervous, and I forgot to do that. But I'm humbled that someone remembers my name. And I'm shocked when anyone remembers my work. It just shocks me. And so I don't have that gene. It goes away real fast. The STEP notion came along in the 80s when we chose to name the field. We were branding the band program. And the logo was the branding. The tradition continues on the band room wall was on the previous 2 band room walls. The guy that painted the tradition continues on your wall there painted the last 2 of the last 3, Jim Makowitz. And Jim, when he painted your wall, walked in on Monday morning with a tall ladder, paintbrushes, and a bandage here on these 2 fingers. Big bandage on these 2 fingers. The thumb was there, and something was missing in his left hand. And he walked in with his ladder on his back. He says, "Jim, you got some help?" "Nope, don't need any help." "You gonna paint the whole wall?" "Yep." I said, "Why are you wearing the bandage?" He said, "Well, I just cut 2 fingers off this weekend with a saw." And there was blood here where he needed to change the bandage. But because he loved the last of the band so, he's one of those roadies that would do anything, that gets your instruments out of the case and opens it up for you so you can just walk by and pick up your euphonium and keep walking. He's one of those guys. He did that job for about 12 years. And I watched him go up and paint like this. The yellow, I think in the black, the whole 2 days by himself. So I eventually examined the paint, and he painted between classes, before classes, between classes, after school into the evening. And he painted it like that. So the parents were so dedicated to the students and to the program in the early 80s, 90s, on through until now. Then when it was time to christen the field in about 86, 87, I asked the current Booster Club president, his name was Dick Lee. Dick was kind of like these guys. Every time you look up, they're there, but they're there only to help you and support you and not to criticize, because they've been in the arena. They've been in the arena. And so Dick Lee said, I'll name it for you, Alfred. So he comes back the next day with STEP, which represents spirit, tradition, excellence, and pride. Last thing about that, the tradition part is a misnomer. People think that the tradition of the last of the band is to be competitive and to beat people, because we always do. The tradition is to always get into these big major events all over the world and to get on television, because we always do. The tradition is a tradition of effort. That is the tradition. It's just effort. It's extra effort and a positive disposition in a kind environment. That's what our tradition is. And so if we work to do well at anything that we do, then there is no secret that the tables cloths are out. It's no secret that each head table has something of meaning on. That's not by accident. It's no secret that the service workers, the parents, and the moms, I think, in this case, the moms are there. It's no secret. That's a part of the overall excellence. That's the tradition of the program. So we base it almost all on those types of things. But Dick Lee named us spirit, tradition, excellence, and pride. We stayed with it.
Thank you. Should we go ahead and present our STEP awards? Yeah. I'll let you call them out. That's the mail up.
Okay, I can't do this very well. Lasso Band Booster Association, my name, STEP Scholarship Award, male runner-up. This one first?
Yeah, that one first.
All right. In recognition of your commitment to the principles of STEP and your dedication to the Lasso Band program, April 29, 2018, $500 grant to Justin Mininger. Remember, he was a ninth grader. Gosh, he's graduating now. The same business as earlier. The runner-up for female, Gracie-Jane Hillman. Small details. It's a lot of money, y'all. The S.T.E.P Award, female first place, $1,000, Olivia H. Now, you the last Hellman?
No, but my brother's not in the band. So.
You the last one to come to the band?
Yes.
How many years, Hellman's?
14, I think.
14 years. Yeah. That's a family, yes? Yeah. How many families did I teach? Did we teach here? I didn't teach. How many of them? Hellman's came to the band. 7?
I'm the fifth kid.
That's great. I think that's the longest running family. The Blenners, I had another family about 12 years ago. And the first place award, $1,000, Parker Franklin.
Next, we have Mr. Thompson, who's going to present the Chris King Scholarship.
So the Kings send their regrets. They have since moved away, and they could not make it here this morning. But I said that I would, represent them and speak on their behalf, particularly because I remember Chris so well, and for most of his time in the Lasseter Band, he was in my class. I remember him so fondly in the last time we went to Pasadena for the Tournament of Roses. He played bass drum. So I'll read their words, which you've used to nominate. Chris King was a percussionist in the Lasseter High School Band from 2011 to 2015. He died in April of 2016. Chris thoroughly enjoyed his years in the Lasseter Band and the friendships he made with other band members. In the journal that his closest friends in the band prepared in his memory, Chris was described as funny, goofy, entertaining, cool, and even eccentric. But more importantly, they described him as kind, helpful, accepting of others, never willing to put others down, one to befriend underclassmen, and one to divert attention from those feeling embarrassed. To honor Chris's life, we, his parents, have established the Chris King Memorial Scholarship. This is not a scholarship based on academic achievement or musical skill. Instead, it is a scholarship based on character, and only those that exhibit Chris's most important traits. What they were trying to do was recognize and honor the memory of their son in something that he loved so dearly. And I can stand here today and tell you that he truly, truly loved the Lasseter Band. So the recipients they sent these to me. The nomination process, they didn't want a scholarship that was given by adults. They wanted a scholarship given by students. And so that's why we were so adamant as directors about asking you to nominate your peers. And in many ways, that sense of selflessness, making it not about yourself, but about someone else that you saw exhibiting those same traits of kindness and respect, is what this scholarship is all about. So there are 2 scholarships. The first recipient of the Chris King Memorial Scholarship for outstanding character, for a member of the Lassiter High School Band for his kindness, helpfulness, encouragement, and acceptance of others. On the 29th day of April, 2019, is Mr. Marshall Parks. Marshall said that he was going to be a little late today. I don't know where he is. I'm hoping that he gets here. The second recipient of the Chris King Memorial Scholarship for Outstanding Character is awarded to Carter Cubis. Thank you very much.
Mr. Manager is going to close us out today.
We want to thank you all for coming and for having an excellent 1, 2, or 3, or 4 years of your college career, and thanks for sharing your talents with the band. Each one of you have left a little piece of you here because you have performed for the band, and you're in the memories of everyone that has seen you play on the field and in the concerts. So thank you very much. A lot of quotes were given here today, and I love quotes, so I'm going to leave you with one last quote from Bill S. Preston Squire and Ted Theodore Logan from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Be excellent to everyone.